Hey guys, this is Chris from StormLifestyle. In this video I'm going to give you my personal favorite dieting strategies and tips for feast sessions. The tips and strategies are basically from an article I've written a few years ago. The link is in the description below. I've updated it and all of the strategies still apply. So in this video you're basically going to get some tips on how to reduce diet damage during these feasting sessions. Think of something like Christmas, for example, and since Christmas is just a few days away, what better day to release this than a few days before it? Furthermore, we have Thanksgiving, birthdays, all-you-can-eat restaurant sittings, or regular restaurants which serve very highly palatable or tasty foods. What all of these special dining scenarios have in common is that they usually serve a lot of tasty foods that really have the potential to toss you in a huge calorie surplus if you don't control yourself and the environment a bit, and if you don't optimize your strategies, you'll end up in a huge calorie surplus, storing unwanted body fat. So without further ado, let's get to the strategies. Strategy number one is going to be reduce your calorie intake slightly a few days before the special feast. If you control weekly energy balance a bit and you make sure you eat slightly less the days before a massive feast, then chances are that you'll end up storing maybe slightly less body fat. Now this is something that I don't recommend you to do for every special feasting session you're going to have, simply because it'll encourage developing a bad relationship with food. You don't want to end up under eating for a few days and then have a massive feast and then kind of compensate for that. That's kind of like binge and repent type behavior, and it's something that I do not encourage. Use it for the really special feasts where you plan on really indulging. Strategy number two is going to involve creating a calorie buffer. What this basically means is that you're going to save a lot of your daily calories or even weekly calories, like I mentioned before, for this special feast. There's a few ways you can go about this. For one, I like to employ intermittent fasting or a form of intermittent fasting by pushing my first meal of the day a bit further away. It's something that you could try as well. So basically by skipping a very early breakfast, you can use those calories for the big dinner session later in the evening. Another tip is to reduce your overall meal frequency. Like for example, if you usually eat 5 meals per day, you could reduce it to maybe 3 or 4. What I personally like to do and what I personally advocate is usually not straying from your set meal frequency too much, because I like encouraging some kind of rhythm to your diet, some kind of structure, having your set meal frequency. But on days like Christmas, I do like to bring my personal meal frequency down from around 3 meals to 2 meals. So usually I have an intermittent morning fast, then I have a light brunch, then somewhere in the midday I try to squeeze in an improvised training session because most gyms are closed on the holidays. Then I basically feast on the huge Christmas dinner. So save a lot of your calories for that one meal, eat light around the big meal, and basically control your calorie intake. That's what it boils down to. If you're wondering what type of foods you should consume in your meal before the big feasting session, just think of simple things like lean meats or lean protein with low calorie fruits or vegetables. Maybe keep your meals around 200 to 300 calories max. Things like chicken salad, bowl of low-fat dairy with fruits, something like that. It will keep you satiated a little bit and reduce chances of going complete scavenger mode during the feast session. Strategy number 3 is going to involve suppressing your appetite a bit. There's a few ways to go about this. One is simply trying to take your mind off of food, because if you're just sitting in the couch being like, whoa, Xmas dinner is going to come and I'm going to eat all the damn food. All the damn food. Is it time yet? You don't want to end up being like that, trust me. You usually have some free time, use it for some fun things. Chewing gum, if you chew gum or if you brush your teeth, you usually don't want to eat anyway, so that's one way to curb appetite a bit. For some people, diet sodas tend to reduce cravings a bit because they have something sweet. For others, it may actually trigger appetite, so choose which camp you fall into. I personally like to drink some diet sodas beforehand. Also, the carbonation in the drink tends to keep me slightly satiated. Staying hydrated, make sure you drink plenty of water, decaf coffee, or simply some no-calorie nonsense to give you the illusion of, hey, I'm having something nice and I don't have to die before Xmas yet. Strategy number 4, increase your energy output ever so slightly, or a lot. Basically be active before Xmas. Don't just sit on the couch all day like I demonstrated before. Go for a walk, go for a bike ride. Be on your feet a little bit. That way you'll increase your calorie budget a bit more And if you're going to indulge and end up in a large calorie surplus, you might as well create a little bit of extra room for it. Strategy number 5 is going to be try to have a strength training session prior to the big feast. If you're going to gain a little bit of fat on that surplus, might as well gain some muscle as well, right? This is not always a very practical approach because some gyms tend to be closed on Christmas Day. And I do not encourage breaking into your gym just to have your strength training session. What I personally do is that I have a few friends who have a garage gym. What I usually do is I ask them if I can get into their gym early on the day to have a strength training session. If that doesn't work out, then I usually do my best to make an improvised strength training routine at home. Get creative with those. You can use bands for band resisted push-ups, handstand push-ups against the wall. You can take a backpack with you outside and do some weighted chin-ups or pull-ups on a bar. If you have dumbbells available, you can do obviously a lot of stuff, and if you have a band, you can do like overhead presses with a band and a dumbbell, really make it a little bit heavy. There's a lot of things you could do. Have a strength training session. Build some muscle with that fat. So those were 5 of my personal favorite strategies before the feast. Right now I'm going to give you some of my favorite tips to employ during the feast session. Number 1, be mindful. This is very important. I'm not even going to start with you should choose protein and vegetables first. No. You're surrounded by people, you tend to be distracted, you have food on your plate, you have your friends or family around you. What I want you to be mindful about is both your friends and family, so don't completely ignore those to just eat your nice plate of food. But don't be like, oh yeah, you probably won't be enjoying yourself as much. So try to divide your attention a little bit. Be nice, be friendly, be jolly. It's the season to be jolly. But also be mindful about the food. Enjoy each bite of it. Pace yourself. Spend a lot of time on both company and food. Tip number 2 for during the feast is start off with the wisest food options you can make. So basically optimize your food selection. What I would start off with is lean protein and veggies or fruits. That way you'll assure a little bit of satiety before moving on to the other stuff. Tip number 3 for during the feast session is going to be save your calories for the stuff that you really want to try. I know it's tempting to want to try and eat everything, but there's usually a few things that you really want to try. And I would recommend saving most of your calories for that stuff. It's fine to try a little bit of everything. If it's a very occasional sitting, go ahead. Just be mindful of it. Make a little bit of quality, sane selections for yourself. And don't go overboard on the stuff that's really calorie dense. Just be sane. Tip number 4 for during the feast session is going to be stay hydrated as well. So make sure to drink plenty of water. If you want to actually suppress appetite some more, some carbonated drinks may work, so sparkling water or diet soda. Other than that, on the topic of drinks, be really careful with stuff like alcohol, non-diet sodas or fruit juices, whatever. If you have the combination of a lot of tasty, palatable foods, which are probably high in calories, and you combine that with a lot of calorie-holding drinks or alcohol, then you basically have a recipe for a huge calorie surplus. It's up to you whether you want that or not, and I would recommend eating your calories. The 5th and final tip for during the feast is eat until satisfied or very satisfied and not until absolute complete I hate myself food coma death. I think we've all experienced that post-insane feast session where we walk away or we roll away almost and we're like, oh god, I'm going to explode. I don't want to see food for the next 36 hours. That's not a very sane state to be in too frequently, so I definitely encourage not eating until that state. Basically, don't be that person that ends up hating himself after a meal. Alright, and that's it. Those are my personal favorite strategies and tips to use during these feasting sessions. Let me conclude this video by saying definitely enjoy the holidays. Don't overthink your diet too much. Try to let go a little bit. Indulge, enjoy the food, enjoy the good company. Be mindful. Don't completely abandon your diet. It's not a table that you decide to flip around and bye diet, I'm going to go over here and eat all the food. So have some balance, have some moderation, apply sanity, apply strategy. Be a strategist. You'll feel much better about yourself if you optimize the variables in your favor. Let me conclude this video by saying thanks a lot for watching. I thank you guys also for the support the past year. I hope to provide much more content in the upcoming year. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, like my Facebook page if you like the StormLifestyle content. I wish you guys a lot of gains in the upcoming year. Happy holidays. See you. eat all the damn food.